Hello, and welcome to Holistic Lifestyle Tips Getting Real About the Woo Woo. I am Becky Russell, owner of wellness company Hope Essential, and I am an essential oil educator and a holistic lifestyle educator. I started this series with the intention of empowering you about your health to hopefully open your mind to a holistic approach to your health that involves treating from the inside out and treating the entire body, mind, body, and soul. And I have been practicing a holistic lifestyle for over 25 years and just want to share what has helped me along the way. When I was in my mid 30s, I was diagnosed as pre diabetic. And in my family, some of the women, as they turn, they get into their 40s, they are diagnosed as type 2 diabetics. And I obviously inherited similar genes and just was not crazy about the results of treating it the traditional way. So I started down the holistic path, and at 63, I am not even considered pre diabetic because of all the changes I've made. So, knowledge is power. So, I every week talk about some aspect of your health: emotional, physical, spiritual wellness, sometimes one, two, all three. And tonight we are going to talk about emotional wellness and, in particular, judgment and why that can be so unhealthy. So, this is from a blog from the everygirl.com. And I'm just going to paraphrase some things, but it was really concise and good information. Um, let's start with the definition. One of the definitions I found on judgment. Being judgmental means being overly critical in an unhelpful and harmful way. Now, the judgment I'm really going to center on is more about when we feel we know best and we are really trying to help. And that can be just as harmful, believe it or not. So, why can judgment be harmful? Well, they can get in the way of fixing problems. It can hurt other people's feelings, even if that's not your intention. And you can actually harm your own self-esteem and happiness. So when you make unhelpful and overly critical comments, it's not only a manifestation of your own insecurities and self esteem, but it can make your own insecurities and self esteem even worse. It can get to the point where you're making so many judgments that it's hard to feel gratitude. And when the judgments become extremely harmful, um, that is how they become extremely harmful, when you can't even be grateful. Research shows that being judgmental of others can negatively affect your self esteem more than any outside force. Let that sink in. If you're critiquing others, you also critique yourself, often more harshly. Accepting and appreciating the good in others, whether it's in their actions, appearance, relationships, etc., will help you accept and appreciate the good in you. So, what can you do to stop being so judgmental? You can know the person you're judging. So I think sometimes um, we don't take the time to really understand someone and we just make a blanket judgment about them. So if we can practice a little more empathy, try to put ourselves in their shoes, learn their background. Um, their values may not be ours. It doesn't mean it's necessarily wrong. So, that is one thing you can do. Another thing is know the impact of your judgment. So, there's constructive criticism, of course, versus the harmful kind. But when you think about social media, that's where we see a lot of judgment, a lot of unkindness. And no, we need to understand the difference between just tweeting about not liking a celebrity's haircut and then tweeting about something that's really meaningful and trying to get a discussion going that way. I'm constantly surprised by how much people seem to care about the most mundane things. What if we put that energy towards something that really mattered? Uh, a third way you can do it is focus on the specific situation. Research shows that judgments tend to assume and emphasize traits in people's personalities rather than focusing on the specific situation. For example, I love this. If someone cuts you off the road, you immediately probably think of them as selfish or rude or inconsiderate. But if you happen to cut someone off in the road, we rationalize it. I know I'm guilty of that. Not that I do that, of course, but we tend to rationalize our own behavior. And I'm running late or I missed my turn, whereas that could be the same, you know, uh, reason that person did it to you. Uh, Number four is my favorite. Practice gratitude regularly. So we can actually train our brains to be happy through positive thinking and gratitude. Um, and if you can start a practice where I like to start the day with 5 things I'm grateful for. And then I end the day with 3 things that are joyful. And or you can do 5 more things that you're grateful for, but try to end and begin your day on something positive. So instead of making gossipy judgments, try to find ways to help, and that will happen easier when you practice gratitude. Number 5, for every judgment, ask yourself, why does it matter to me? How does this affect my life? Because we don't, honestly, especially with social media, everyone doesn't need to know your opinion on everything. So, you know, if it's something that matters, it has more weight. But if you're just saying something to, uh, you know, think you're being clever, but you're actually putting someone down, it's just being mean. So we don't need that. Um, Number 6, stay open to learning new things and know that many of your opinions should be changing. If you are never admitting you're wrong or that you might, be able to think of it in a different way, that's being very rigid. And that's not growing. So I always say if I'm stop growing, I'm dead. And I truly believe that. And then number 7, of course, strengthen your empathy. Uh, in today's world, when bullying on blog posts or mean tweets are more normal than compliments or kindness, we need to teach our children and ourselves to focus more on compassion than on judgments. We need to understand other perspectives, practice kindness more than we practice judgment, and we need to have something to talk about that's not other people and our judgments about them. So I really love all those sentiments. And this is a good segue into a book I read recently that was truly life changing for me. I had no idea until I read this book how much judgment was sabotaging my relationships. It's a book called Judgment Detox: Release the Beliefs That Hold You Back from Living a Better Life. And it's by Gabrielle Bernstein. And I was already a fan of hers. I'd read a couple of her other books, but I really wish I had read this book because the earliest possible moment. I really appreciate that she doesn't try to make you feel guilty or ashamed about judging, because it's a very human thing. We all do it. But what we have to do is become aware that that's what we're doing. And um, so that we can pause, reflect, and shift from that negative energy of judging to the positive energy of love and empathy. I love that. So, anyone else but me have control issues? I'm really working hard on that. Um, have you ever thought that if people would just listen to you, the world would be a better place? I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've thought that or said it. Because I have a good heart and I think that I know what's best a lot of times. So you're just trying to be helpful. But what this book taught me is that everyone is on their own journey and we have our own individual lessons to learn or not to learn. We get to choose whether we learn lessons. And when you see a pattern in your life, whether it's sort of a victim mentality or, um, you know, any kind of negative pattern in your life, nothing ever works out right for me. I never win anything. Um, I'm always the last person. I don't have good luck. If there's this way of these stories you tell yourself, if there's a pattern there, then there's a lesson to learn. And when someone, even if they're well intentioned, tries to insert themselves into your story, into your journey, that person is preventing you from learning that lesson or having the opportunity to learn that lesson. And I think as a parent, that's extremely common, where we see that our child is going to make a mistake. It's a bad choice. And we try to micromanage, or we have to give our opinion when it wasn't asked for. Now, obviously, if it's a very serious, life threatening thing, absolutely you're going to pipe in. But sometimes it's just a very minor thing, and we're constantly, or at least I was, I know, constantly giving an opinion or trying to sway their choices. And this book was just so compelling, the things in it, because my number 5 strength is responsibility. So as a parent, it's really hard for me to not take it personally or feel like I failed if my children are not, you know, doing what I believe is the right thing. And this book really opened my eyes to how unhelpful that really is and harmful. Your adult children or even teens, they are learning their own lessons or they're not learning, and they are on a journey, and they have to make those decisions, and they can then, once they learn one lesson, move on to the next. If we are constantly inserting ourselves and our opinions and trying to manipulate that journey, they don't have a chance to learn from that. So this was liberating for me to know that I don't have to feel responsible for anything. Um, they have choices. My friends, my family, my kids all have choices that they make on their journeys, and it has nothing to do with me. That's very liberating for someone who feels responsible. So I highly encourage you, if you do have control issues, and if you see that you're sort of, instead of um, instead of your relationships getting stronger and the bonds getting deeper, um, there people are drifting away. That may be one reason. So take a good hard look at yourself, see if you are judging, and you can't rationalize it away that it's for their good, their own good, or I'm just trying to help. Once you read this book, you can't do that anymore. You realize the harm you're doing. So I just want to share what an amazing difference this book made to me. I just feel like a different person. So she also gives concrete steps on how to release the beliefs that hold you back from living your best life. I don't do well with abstract. So having those concrete steps is really helpful for me. So if you or someone you know feels stuck, um, do yourself a favor and read this book. I highly recommend it. So I would love to know if you had any aha moments during this, what your takeaway is, and if you're, I wish I could get like a referral fee for how much I recommend this book, but it truly was life changing for me. So um, just would love to know what you think, and if you intend to read the book, and also follow me on Facebook, the Hope Essential LLC business page. Check out my website, hopeessential.com. You can now subscribe to my blog, Open Heart, Open Mind blog, and whenever I write a new one, you get that release. And would just love to have you on this journey with me. And also, I offer free wellness consults. So if you are interested in that, I would love to connect with you. So till next time, choose you, choose natural, choose now.